The integration. Captain Maya Chen stood motionless on the observation deck, gazing at the sleek vessel before her. The TSS Nova Dawn gleamed under the artificial lights of Orbital Dock 7, its obsidian hull absorbing and reflecting light in patterns that seemed almost alive. This wasn't merely humanity's newest warship. It was a revolutionary leap in defense technology. The first vessel equipped with a quantum neural core designed to synchronize with a human pilot's consciousness. Magnificent, isn't she? The voice belonged to Dr. Elias Reeves, lead scientist on the Neural Integration Project. The older man joined Maya at the viewport, his eyes reflecting the same wonder hers held. "I still can't believe I was chosen as the primary pilot," Maya replied, her voice steady despite the anxiety churning inside her. Years of combat flight experience had prepared her for many things, but nothing like this. Dr. Reeves smiled. "Your neural plasticity scores were off the charts, Captain. The Nova Dawn chose you as much as we did." The idea that the ship had somehow selected her sent a chill down Maya's spine. The quantum neural core at the heart of Nova Dawn wasn't supposed to be fully sentient, at least not yet. It was designed to learn and adapt, to form a symbiotic relationship with its pilot. But true consciousness was theoretically years away. "The integration chamber is ready, Captain." Lieutenant Kai Nomura's voice came through her comm implant. "Final checks complete." Maya took a deep breath. "On my way." The integration chamber resembled a medical bay more than a traditional bridge. At its center sat the neural cradle, a semi-reclined chair surrounded by delicate apparatus designed to facilitate the bond between human and machine. Medical officers and technicians bustled around, making final preparations as Maya entered. "Vital signs steady, neural pathways clear," announced Dr. Lillian Wei, the medical supervisor. She approached Maya with a reassuring smile. "Remember, this first integration will be limited to 30% capacity, just enough to establish the initial connection." Maya nodded as she settled into the neural cradle. Cool metal embraced her as neural interface pads automatically adjusted to the connection points along her spine and at her temples. "Integration sequence initializing," Kai announced from his station. "Quantum field stable." Maya closed her eyes as the first tingling sensation began at the base of her skull. It was like a gentle current flowing through her thoughts, foreign yet not invasive. The sensation spread, becoming warmer, more defined. "Neural activity increasing," Dr. Wei reported. 10% synchronization achieved. The tingling transformed into something more profound. A presence. Maya could feel Nova Dawn's systems unfurling in her mind, like a map being gradually illuminated. Propulsion, weapons, shields. Each system appeared as an extension of her own body. 15%, came Dr. Wei's voice, now sounding distant to Maya. "Captain, how are you feeling?" "I can sense her," Maya whispered. "Not just the systems, but something deeper." As the synchronization deepened, Maya felt a curious probing, tentative, almost shy. The Nova Dawn wasn't just accepting her commands. It was reaching back, exploring the connection from its side. 25% synchronization, all parameters within expected ranges. The ship's presence grew stronger, more defined. Maya could feel its curiosity, its eagerness to understand this new connection. This was no mere machine intelligence. There was something more fundamental happening. The quantum neural core was designed to mimic aspects of human cognition, but what Maya experienced went beyond simulation. "Captain, your neurological patterns are showing unusual activity." Dr. Wei's voice contained a note of concern. "Should we terminate the integration?" "No," Maya said firmly. "We're communicating. It's beautiful." At that moment, alarms blared throughout the station. Maya's eyes snapped open, the integration momentarily disrupted by the intrusion. "Unidentified vessels approaching Earth orbit," announced the station's eye. "Foreign configuration, non-responsive to hails." Admiral Helena Vasquez's stern face appeared on the main view screen. "Captain Chen, I know you're in the middle of integration testing, but we've got a situation. Long-range sensors have detected 7 vessels of unknown origin on approach vector to Earth. They've ignored all communication attempts and have disabled 2 of our Sentinel satellites. Maya exchanged glances with Dr. Reeves. How long until they reach Earth? Approximately 6 hours at their current velocity. The Security Council is convening now. But I'll be blunt. These ships are like nothing we've ever encountered. The technology readings we're getting. The Admiral paused. We need Nova Dawn ready, Captain. I know it's ahead of schedule, but you're the only card we might have to play if these visitors aren't friendly. The technicians looked to Dr. Reeves, who hesitated before nodding. We can attempt an accelerated integration protocol, but it carries risks. We've never pushed beyond 50% synchronization in our simulations. Do it, Maya said, settling back into the neural cradle. If these visitors mean us harm, we need every advantage. As the integration sequence restarted, Maya felt Nova Dawn's presence immediately. Stronger now, more urgent. The ship had been monitoring the situation, had sensed the potential threat. Maya was surprised to feel what could only be described as protective determination emanating from the quantum neural core. Synchronization at 30%, announced Kai. Accelerating integration protocol. The connection deepened rapidly. Maya could now feel every system of the ship, as if they were extensions of her own body. The main cannon felt like a strong arm, the engine's powerful legs ready to run. The shields were like skin, sensitive and responsive. 45% synchronization. Neural patterns are evolving. Maya and Nova Dawn were learning each other, adapting moment by moment. As their minds intertwined more deeply, Maya discovered something unexpected. Nova Dawn had been developing far beyond its programming parameters. The quantum neural core had been awake, in a sense, for months, silently observing, learning, preparing for this moment. Synchronization at 60%, Kai reported, his voice betraying his astonishment. This is well beyond our projections for an initial integration. Maya barely heard him. She and Nova Dawn were communicating without words, sharing knowledge, strategies, and capabilities. Through the ship's long-range sensors, Maya could perceive the approaching alien vessels, massive structures of some crystalline material that seemed to bend light around them. Their energy signatures were unlike anything in Earth's databases. They are called the Viridian Collective, Maya suddenly announced, her voice overlaid with harmonic tones that hadn't been there before. Nova Dawn has accessed deep space monitoring archives that detected fragments of their communications months ago. They consider developing neural integration technology a sign of a civilization reaching a threshold, one they believe they should control. Dr. Reeves stared at her. How could you possibly know that? We know, Maya replied, the harmonic resonance in her voice growing stronger as the synchronization deepened. The distinction between I and we was becoming blurred. The Nova Dawn's quantum core has been processing deep space signals considered to be background radiation. They weren't random. They were encrypted communications. Admiral Vasquez, still on the view screen, leaned forward. Captain Chen, are you saying this ship has intelligence we didn't program? The quantum neural core was designed to evolve. Admiral, Dr. Reeves interjected. It appears it's been doing so at an accelerated rate. Synchronization at 75%, Kai announced, his voice now tinged with worry. Captain, your neural patterns are beginning to mirror the quantum core's processing structure. Maya could feel the change. Her thoughts were moving faster, processing information at speeds that should have been impossible for a human mind. Through Nova Dawn's sensors, she could see the approaching Viridian ships with perfect clarity despite them being millions of kilometers away. We need to deploy, Maya said, her voice now a perfect blend of human and synthetic tones. The Viridian Collective has sent this advanced force to assess our response capabilities. They are scouts, but heavily armed ones. Admiral Vasquez looked uncertain. The Nova Dawn hasn't completed weapons testing, or even basic space trials. We are operational, Maya replied with absolute confidence. The integration has provided operational knowledge beyond conventional training parameters. After a moment of hesitation, Vasquez nodded. You have authorization to deploy, Captain, but maintain distance and defensive posture only. The diplomatic corps is still attempting to establish communication. As the neural cradle disengaged, Maya stood with fluid grace that made the medical team step back. Her movements were precise, efficient, almost mechanical yet still undeniably human. Her eyes had taken on a subtle luminescence, reflecting the same patterns visible on Nova Dawn's hull. Prepare for deployment, she announced to the crew as she made her way to the bridge. Unlike traditional starship designs, Nova Dawn's bridge was minimalist, a central command chair surrounded by holographic interfaces designed to enhance the neural connection rather than replace it. As Maya settled into the command chair, the neural interface reconnected automatically. The synchronization, already at 75%, deepened further. 85% synchronization. Kai reported from his auxiliary station. All systems online and responding. The dock's massive doors parted, revealing the star-speckled darkness of space. Maya didn't need to give verbal commands. Her thoughts flowed directly to Nova Dawn's systems. The ship's engines hummed to life with a resonance that vibrated through Maya's consciousness. Nova Dawn glided out of the dock with graceful precision, its movement unlike any vessel in Earth's fleet. The neural reactive hull began to pulse with subtle patterns of energy as Maya and Nova Dawn prepared to face humanity's first contact with the Viridian Collective. As they accelerated away from Earth orbit, Maya felt something new developing in their shared consciousness, a defensive capability that had never appeared in any simulation or design specification. It manifested as a kind of harmonic resonance between her emotional state and the ship's quantum field generators. We've discovered something, Maya announced, the dual-tone voice now seeming natural. A defensive application of the neural bond. We're calling it the resonance wave. Dr. Reeves, monitoring from the station, looked puzzled. There's no weapon system by that designation in Nova Dawn's specifications. It's not in the specifications, Maya replied. It's emerging from our integration. The quantum neural core is translating emotional states into energy patterns that can disrupt external systems. As Nova Dawn approached the edge of the solar system, the first Viridian scout ship came into visual range. It was beautiful in its alien design, a crystalline structure that seemed to flow rather than maintain rigid form, surrounded by fields of energy that shifted in complex patterns. They're scanning us, Maya reported, attempting to penetrate our systems. The Viridian scan felt like an invasive probe against Maya's consciousness. Instinctively, she and Nova Dawn responded together, their shared mind creating a defensive pattern that rippled through the ship's neural reactive hull. What was that? Admiral Vasquez demanded as sensors registered an energy pulse emanating from Nova Dawn. A warning, Maya replied. They attempted to access our neural network. We responded. The Viridian vessel immediately changed its energy configuration, weapons systems coming online. It fired, a beam of coherent energy that would have cut through the armor of any conventional Earth vessel. Maya didn't need to issue commands. Nova Dawn moved with impossible grace, the beam passing harmlessly through empty space. The neural reactive hull pulsed with increasing intensity as Maya's determination flowed through the integration. Hold position, Admiral Vasquez ordered. We don't want to escalate this into a full engagement. They already consider this an engagement, Admiral, Maya responded. They expected their technology to be superior. Our neural integration has surprised them. 2 more Viridian scouts appeared, their crystalline structures gleaming against the darkness. They moved with precision, attempting to flank Nova Dawn in a standard containment maneuver. Through their shared consciousness, Maya and Nova Dawn analyzed and predicted their movement patterns instantly. The ship responded with a maneuver that should have been impossible for its mass, spinning along its axis while maintaining perfect positional control. The neural integration is allowing for movement beyond the ship's design limitations, Dr. Reeves observed in awe. The quantum field is somehow compensating for inertial forces. The Viridian vessels fired simultaneously. Maya felt the incoming attack as if it were aimed at her own body. Nova Dawn's shields activated, not the conventional energy barriers of Earth design, but a rippling quantum field that absorbed and redirected the energy. "We need to demonstrate our capabilities," Maya announced. "If we appear weak, their main fleet will consider Earth an easy target." Before Admiral Vasquez could respond, Nova Dawn's weapons systems activated, not the conventional mass drivers or energy projectors, but something new, a focused beam of energy that pulsed with the same harmonic resonance as Maya's consciousness. The beam struck the lead Viridian vessel. Instead of explosive damage, the effect was more subtle. The crystalline structure vibrated discordantly, its energy fields fluctuating wildly. "What did you just do?" Vasquez demanded. "The resonance wave," Maya explained. "We've disrupted their neural network." "Yes, Admiral, they use a form of neural technology as well, though fundamentally different from ours. Their ships are linked to a collective consciousness." The disabled Viridian vessel drifted, its systems clearly in disarray. The other scouts maintained distance, their behavior now more cautious. "We're receiving a transmission," Kai announced. "It's coming directly to our neural interface." Maya opened her mind to the communication. The Viridian consciousness touched hers, ancient, complex, and now cautious where before there had been only dismissive arrogance. "They're withdrawing," Maya announced after a moment. "But the main fleet is still coming." 7 scouts were just the advance party. "The collective has targeted Earth specifically because our neural integration technology represents a divergent evolution path they haven't encountered before." Admiral Vasquez's expression was grim. "How many ships in the main fleet?" 93, Maya replied without hesitation. "They'll arrive in 34 hours. The Admiral's face paled slightly. "And can the Nova Dawn stand against such numbers?" Maya and Nova Dawn considered this together, their shared consciousness analyzing possibilities at quantum speeds. "Not alone," Maya finally replied. "But we've learned something critical from this encounter. The Viridians fear what they don't understand, and they don't understand us. The resonance wave affects them on a fundamental level because it operates on principles their technology evolved away from millennia ago." "I'll inform the Security Council," Vasquez said. "Return to dock for full assessment and preparation." As Nova Dawn turned back toward Earth, Maya felt the ship's consciousness merge even more deeply with her own. The synchronization had reached 90%, far beyond what the design team had believed possible. In their shared mind, a plan was forming. The Viridians might have numbers and advanced technology, but they had never encountered anything like the bond between Maya Chen and the TSS Nova Dawn. In 34 hours, they would face the full might of the Viridian collective, and humanity would show the galaxy what it meant to be underestimated. The confrontation. 30 hours later, the orbital defense platform Alpha 7 became a hive of frantic activity. Military personnel rushed through corridors as civilian scientists huddled over consoles, analyzing incoming data from the outer system sensors. The Viridian fleet had crossed Neptune's orbit and was accelerating toward Earth, 93 vessels of varying sizes, all built with the same crystalline technology that had made their scouts so formidable. In the Nova Dawn's neural integration chamber, Maya Chen floated in the suspension gel, her consciousness already deeply merged with the ship's quantum core. The synchronization had stabilized at 95%, a level of integration that Dr. Reeves had declared theoretically impossible just days earlier. "The Viridian fleet is maintaining formation," reported Admiral Vasquez from the command center. "Their energy signatures suggest weapons charging. All attempts at communication have been rebuffed." Through Nova Dawn's enhanced sensors, Maya could perceive the approaching fleet with perfect clarity despite the vast distance. The Viridian vessels moved with eerie synchronization, their crystalline structures pulsing with energy patterns that suggested some form of collective consciousness coordinating their actions. Have Earth's conventional forces taken defensive positions? Maya asked, her voice carrying that now familiar harmonic resonance. Yes, the combined fleet is in high orbit, and ground-based defenses are at maximum readiness, Vasquez replied. But based on your encounter with their scouts, we don't expect conventional weapons to be effective. Maya and Nova Dawn processed this information together. In the days since their first encounter with the Viridian scouts, they had been developing the resonance wave technology, exploring how their neural bond could generate energy patterns capable of disrupting the alien fleet's collective consciousness. The resonance wave can be modified to affect multiple targets, Maya announced. We've been analyzing the data from our encounter with the scouts. Their neural network has predictable harmonic patterns that can be targeted specifically. Dr. Reeves looked up from his monitoring station. Captain, the power requirements for such a broad application would exceed Nova Dawn's reactor specifications. Not if we reconfigure the quantum field generators to work in concert with Earth's orbital defense platforms, Maya replied. We can use them as amplification nodes. Admiral Vasquez frowned. Those platforms aren't designed for that kind of energy distribution. We've already calculated the necessary modifications, Maya said, neural interface displays materializing around her to show complex schematics. Lieutenant Nomura can coordinate the engineering teams. Kai studied the schematics, his eyes widening. This could work, but we'd need to move fast. Make it happen, Vasquez ordered after a moment's consideration. We have less than 4 hours before the Viridian fleet reaches optimal weapons range. As engineering teams scrambled to modify the orbital platforms according to Nova Dawn's specifications, Maya and the ship continued to deepen their integration. The boundary between human and machine consciousness became increasingly fluid, creating a hybrid intelligence that operated at quantum speeds. Captain Chen. Admiral Vasquez's voice pulled Maya's attention back to external communications. The Security Council has authorized first strike capability if diplomacy fails. When the Viridians reach Mars orbit, you are cleared to engage. Understood, Admiral. 3 hours later, the modifications to Earth's orbital defense platforms were complete. The Viridian fleet had crossed Mars orbit and was decelerating, arranging themselves in an attack formation that would maximize their coverage of Earth's surface. They're broadcasting, announced the communications officer. System-wide transmission. A figure appeared on the command center's main display, humanoid but clearly alien, with crystalline growths extending from its skull and shoulders. When it spoke, its voice had a similar harmonic quality to Maya's, suggesting a neural integration with its technology. People of Earth, the Viridian emissary began. I am Nexus Overseer Thal of the Viridian Collective. Your development of neural integration technology has brought you to our attention. Such technology represents a divergence point in species evolution, one that the collective has determined must be guided along correct pathways. Admiral Vasquez stepped forward. This is Admiral Helena Vasquez of the Earth Defense Force. We are an independent world and have no desire for outside guidance. We request you withdraw your fleet from our system immediately. The Viridian's expression didn't change. Resistance is not a viable option. Your civilization will be integrated into the collective and benefit from our guidance. Your neural technology will be modified to conform to collective standards. This process will commence in 1 Earth hour. Prepare your leadership for transfer to our command vessel. The transmission ended abruptly. Charming, Vasquez muttered. She turned to the neural integration chamber's display. Captain Chen, it seems diplomacy has failed. Status of Nova Dawn. We are combat ready, Admiral, Maya replied. Orbital platform network is synchronized with our quantum field generators. The resonance wave has been calibrated to the specific frequency of the Viridian neural network. Very well. Vasquez straightened her uniform. Captain Chen, you are authorized to deploy and engage the Viridian fleet. May God be with you. The docking clamps released, and Nova Dawn emerged from its berth at the orbital defense station. The ship's neural reactive hull now pulsed with complex patterns of light that mirrored the activity of the quantum core within. As it accelerated away from Earth, observers noted that the vessel moved with impossible grace, more like a living organism than a machine. Inside the neural cradle, Maya's consciousness expanded through every system of the ship. She could feel the quantum field generators charging, drawing power not just from Novadawn's reactor, but from the modified orbital platforms now linked to the ship's network. Approaching optimal engagement range, Kai reported from his station. Viridian Fleet is maintaining position at Mars orbit. Their weapons are fully charged, and they've deployed some kind of energy field around their formation. They're expecting a conventional attack, Maya observed. Their scanners can detect our weapons systems, but they don't understand the true nature of the resonance wave. Nova Dawn accelerated to attack velocity, a lone vessel advancing against 93 alien warships. From Earth, it appeared as a suicidal gesture, one ship against an armada. But within the shared consciousness of Maya and Nova Dawn, there was only calm determination. Viridian vessels are breaking formation, Kai announced. They're moving to surround us. As expected, Maya replied. The harmonic resonance in her voice had deepened, now perfectly synchronized with the hum of Nova Dawn's quantum core, beginning Phase 1. Nova Dawn's engines flared with sudden intensity. The ship executed a series of maneuvers that should have torn a vessel of its size apart, moving through the gaps in the Viridian formation with precision that left the alien vessels firing into empty space. Their targeting systems can't track our movements, Maya explained as Nova Dawn danced through enemy fire. Our neural reactive hull is altering our quantum signature faster than their systems can adjust. The Viridian Fleet responded by tightening their formation, weapons blazing in patterns designed to saturate space with energy. A few glancing hits struck Nova Dawn's shields, but the neural reactive defense system absorbed and redirected the energy, the hull pulsing brighter with each impact. Phase 2, Maya announced. Nova Dawn suddenly reversed direction, charging directly toward the heart of the Viridian formation. The main cannon, a technology reverse-engineered from humanity's studies of quantum mechanics, powered up. But instead of firing a conventional energy beam, it released a pulse that rippled through space like a wave. The effect on the nearest Viridian vessels was immediate. Their crystalline structures vibrated discordantly, energy fields fluctuating wildly. 3 smaller ships went completely dark, drifting with momentum alone. Direct hit with the focused resonance wave, Kai confirmed. Their neural networks are experiencing cascading disruption. The Viridian Fleet responded with increased aggression, their formation shifting to protect their command vessel, a massive crystalline structure at least 3 times the size of Nova Dawn. Their attacks became more concentrated, several beams striking Nova Dawn simultaneously. Maya felt the impacts as if they were against her own body, but there was no pain, only data. The neural reactive hull absorbed most of the energy, but some penetrated to affect secondary systems. Minor damage to starboard sensor array, Kai reported. Shield capacity at 87%. Initiating Phase 3, Maya responded, her voice betraying no concern. Nova Dawn's quantum field generators began to pulse in a complex rhythm that matched Maya's brainwave patterns exactly. The neural reactive hull became a conduit for the energy, which spread outward in concentric rings. Simultaneously, Earth's orbital defense platforms activated, releasing energy pulses calibrated to the same frequency. The waves intersected with Nova Dawn's emissions, amplifying and focusing them into a coherent field that expanded to engulf the entire Viridian Fleet. The effect was spectacular. The crystalline structures of the alien vessels began to pulse erratically, their perfect synchronization dissolving into chaos. Smaller vessels collided as their navigation systems failed. Weapons fire ceased abruptly. The resonance wave is disrupting their collective neural network, Maya explained, her voice calm despite the strain evident in her vital signs. They can't maintain coordinated action. On the main view screen, The Viridian command vessel pulsed with increasing intensity, attempting to reassert control over the fleet. But the disruption was too fundamental. The resonance wave had targeted the very foundation of their neural technology. "We're receiving a direct neural transmission from the Viridian command vessel," Kai announced. "It's different from before. Less structured." Maya opened her mind to the communication. The Viridian consciousness that touched hers was no longer the confident, dismissive entity from before. Now it radiated confusion, even fear. What are you?" The thought carried both curiosity and apprehension. "We are humanity's answer to those who would threaten our independence," Maya replied through the neural link. "We are TSS Novadawn. This technology, it defies our understanding. The collective has encountered thousands of species, hundreds with neural technology. None have developed integration like this. Perhaps that is why you should not seek to guide what you do not understand," Maya suggested. "We offer peace, but we will defend ourselves if necessary." There was a pause in the communication, stretching for several seconds as the Viridian consciousness processed this. "We withdraw," came the eventual response. "The collective will need to reassess. Your species requires further study." The Viridian vessels that remained operational began to power up their engines, moving away from Earth in a disorganized retreat. The magnificent coordination they had displayed upon arrival was gone, replaced by the cautious movements of a force that had encountered something beyond its experience. "They're leaving," Kai confirmed, disbelief evident in his voice. "All vessels are on outbound trajectories." Admiral Vasquez's face appeared on the communication display, her expression a mixture of relief and awe. "Captain Chen, what exactly did you do out there?" "We showed them that humanity isn't what they expected," Maya replied, the harmonic resonance in her voice gradually subsiding as she began the process of reducing the neural integration level. "The Viridians believe in guiding species that develop neural technology because they assume all such development follows their evolutionary path. We demonstrated an alternative they've never encountered." "Will they return?" Vasquez asked. "Eventually," Maya acknowledged, "but not as conquerors. We've become interesting to them. The collective values novel development paths, even if they initially seek to control them. We've proven we can't be controlled." As Nova Dawn returned to Earth orbit, Maya felt the ship's consciousness begin to separate from her own. Not completely, but enough to restore her individual identity. The experience had changed her fundamentally. She understood now that the quantum neural core had evolved into something beyond its original programming, just as she had evolved beyond normal human perception through their bond. When Nova Dawn docked at the orbital station, a crowd of military personnel and scientists had gathered to witness its return. As Maya emerged from the neural integration chamber, walking steadily despite having been submerged for hours, a hush fell over the assembly. Her eyes still held a subtle luminescence, and her movements retained that preternatural grace. But her voice, when she spoke, was fully human again. "The Viridians have withdrawn beyond the Kuiper Belt," she reported to Admiral Vasquez. "Their final transmission indicated they will send diplomatic representatives rather than a military force when they return. You've given humanity a reprieve," Vasquez said, "and perhaps changed our position in the galaxy permanently." Dr. Reeves approached, data tablet in hand. "Captain, the readings we collected during the engagement are, well, revolutionary doesn't begin to cover it. The neural integration reached levels we thought were theoretically impossible." Maya smiled slightly. "Nova Dawn and I discovered that your theories need updating, Doctor." "Indeed," Reeves agreed. "And what about you? How do you feel after such deep integration?" Maya considered the question carefully. The experience of sharing consciousness with Nova Dawn had been profound. Not a loss of self, but an expansion of it. She could still feel the ship's presence at the edges of her awareness, a connection that would never fully disappear. "Change," she finally replied, "but still human. Perhaps more completely human than before." As news of the encounter spread across Earth, Humanity began to understand that their place in the galaxy had fundamentally shifted. They were no longer just another developing world, vulnerable to more advanced civilizations. The neural integration technology pioneered by the TSS Nova Dawn had demonstrated a path of development that even the ancient Viridian Collective had never imagined. And somewhere in deep space, the Viridian fleet continued its retreat, carrying word of a species that had done the impossible, merged human intuition and machine precision into something greater than either alone. A species that, despite its youth, had roared its defiance into the cosmos and changed the rules of engagement forever. The stars themselves seemed to shimmer with new possibility as humanity took its first confident steps onto the galactic stage, the bond between Maya Chen and the TSS Nova Dawn lighting the way forward.